सीधा है ना?
सीधे सीधे, yeah.
Reminds me, but I shot footage of Soknur Bajay in Kinney in 2003 in a taxi. He was singing some like Tibetan song. Soknur Bajay was so happy. Yeah. Off to Tibet.
Can we use this footage?
Everything is for use.
Daniel, how much creative freedom do we have?
101%.
That's dangerous.
So we'll start about Gebchak, then how you ended up there.
Yeah, you?
Yeah. And then we'll build up from there.
Okay.
A little bit about Peter you mentioned, and
Yes, it would be nice.
and then we'll go to Chang, and then we'll branch off to Dark Retreat. So welcome to Buddhist View Podcast. I am very pleased to have Josh here with me, my good friend Josh. We are about to reach the pyramid of Kathmandu, so maybe you guys can see. So today I have the pleasure to talk with Josh a little bit about the Gebchak lineage, the Gebchak tradition from Nangchen in Kham, Eastern Tibet. So maybe we can start by, you can tell us a little bit about what is Gebchak, what is the Gebchak lineage, for anybody who doesn't know, including myself actually.
Is it okay if we start this journey in Beijing?
Absolutely.
Recently in Beijing, I was having a barbecue with my landlord. I've got a factory that I renovated, and the landlord is like, of course, a worker. I mean, he runs a factory. And he's a big like fan of Mao Zedong, and he is of like wanting to tell me that U.S. is such a young nation, a young culture. But I told him, okay, it's true, but you look on our dollar bill, because we have a pyramid on our dollar bill. So pyramids are a few thousand years old, perhaps 5,000. And I asked him, what do you have on your renminbi? So he has Mao on his renminbi, on all the Chinese money is Mao. Actually, it's not really clear, like, whose culture, or whose nation is the oldest. We base ours on a very ancient lineage of Egyptian pyramids and Greek democracy, whereas theirs is all like stemming from Mao. But yeah, I mean, we can axe that little intro, but Gebchak itself, Gebchak, that's the pyramid. I mean, there's the pyramid reference. And then Gebchak itself is a place that I wanted to spend like as much time as possible once I discovered it. After Soknur Rinpoche kindly brought me there as a video guy, I wanted to study there and learn there. So
What year is this?
yeah, so 2003 was the first trip, and then somehow along the way ended up in Beijing. So I'm based in Beijing, but then because of that, it's very easy to go back and forth to Nangchen. So basically, would go to Gebchak and the area on a yearly basis. But 2003 was the first trip to there, and I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, whole world opened up that I hadn't expected.
Before you tell us how you reached Gebchak, maybe you can tell us what is Gebchak itself.
Yeah, so Gebchak is a nunnery in Kamnungchen, which is Qinghai province, China. And it was founded in the late 19th century by Ujin Tsayan Jamso, who is one of the 4 heart disciples of Zhubuan Soni Doji Chang. So now is the 3rd Soni Rinpoche. The first Soni Rinpoche was a monk at Sepchu Monastery. It's the royal monastery of Nungchen, based at the king's palace, Nungchen Gar. And the first Soni Rinpoche had this lineage of Ratnalingpa that he received from Choja Dorje. So actually he was a Drupakaju Togden, did retreat for 13 years, then received the Ratnalingpa from Choja Dorje. Choja Dorje was also a Drupakaju Togden, but then he had the treasures of Ratnalingpa. So he transmitted them to Soni Rinpoche. And Soni Rinpoche's disciple is Ojin Sayan Jamso. He's the founder of Gebchak.
Gebchak Monastery.
In fact, a nunnery. So, yes, in fact, a nunnery. But in the beginning, so when it was first getting started, as I understand it, there was Sayan Jamso, who was doing, basically doing his retreat there.
What year was it founded?
Oh, good question. 1880, not sure exactly. But there's...
But 1800s, late 1800s.
Oh, yes,
say?
late 1800s. And there is a website. There is a Gebchak Nunnery website that was established by Wandrak Rinpoche. And so there is a lot of information on there. And even there's Ani Chuzum from Canada. She has done interviews, a lot of research, a lot of studies. So she has much information as well.
This is the Australian Annie?
Oh, yes.
Or-
Like living there, but yes, but from Canada, but living there.
So what distinguishes Gebchak from other monasteries, other Ani Gumpas?
Oh, yeah, so the interesting part is that there was this Sayan Jamso, and he was doing his practice. Already he had done, well, what Adi Rinpoche told us, that Sayan Jamso had done 6 years of retreat at Druk Sangak Choling under the Gyawan Dzogchen. And then he went and received Ratnalingpa from Soni Rinpoche and did a 3-year retreat on Ratnalingpa's treasure at the place where Gebchak then formed. So it formed up around him.
The Ani Gumpa forms around the practice of Ratna Limpa in particular, or was it unified with the Drukpa Kagyu practice?
So basically it's forming up around Ratnalingpa, the rediscovered treasures of Ratnalingpa. And as I understand it, Sayan Jamso was practicing and getting his realization, and the community started to grow. So the community was made up of the Anis, who are quite famous, but also yogis. So in fact, he had 9 heart disciples, and 8 of them were yogis, and then one was this incarnation of Khandra Yishi Soja. So like, if you go to Gebchak these days, up behind the nunnery, there's Sayan Jamso's retreat hut, and there are different pagodas, different stupas around it, where they have the relics of various Togdens who practice there. And so they're named. So they have their names on the stupas. There's all the Togdens' different names. What Pema Dorje was saying. So then, so I studied about Gebchak through Adi Rinpoche, of course, Soni Rinpoche, but more Adi Rinpoche, a yogi named Pema Dorje, and a yogi named Pema Drimi. And what Pema Dorje was saying, that before they would practice and practice up at Gebchak, and then when they would die, they would take the person up onto the hill and build a stupa for them, and that was it. This is the Yak and Pony show.
How's it sound so far?
It's really good, actually. I like it. Okay. Okay, so you've mentioned three yogis. Maybe you can tell us a little bit, like, who is Adu Rinpoche, for example. Maybe we can
So
start with him.
it's,
Mhm.
it's kind of a long answer to you were asking what makes Gebchak different or what makes it special.
Mhm.
And this is the thing, is that it grew up as a nunnery, but also with yogis, and so it had the men and women both practicing in the same place. But then first Soni Rinpoche at some point came, and he put the men on the other side of the ridge. So then Raya Hermitage developed. And that's it is an interesting part. I mean, is that there is a kind of, from my experience, a camaraderie between the men and the women who are practicing there. So, like with Pema Dorje, practicing with him, he is a Gebchak Yogi. And he would have the Gebchak nuns coming to visit his cave and to receive teachings. And the same with Lagin Pemetrimi. So he's this kind of Gebchak Yogi and very much involved with the nuns. And then there were monks and kempos who are also studying and practicing the lineage. And basically it's famous as a nunnery, but it also has a big, like a great sort of, I guess a great place for the yogis as well. And so for example, the three yogis I mentioned, in fact, it would be Adi Rinpoche. Adi Rinpoche is he was the 8th incarnation of Trushik Adi Rinpoche. It's Ngawang Tutup, and he is a Drupakaju master, and trained to be the teacher to the king of Nangchen, and then he received the Ratnalingpa lineage from the 2nd Soni Rinpoche. So the first Soni Rinpoche is a disciple of the 5th Adi Rinpoche and Chogyal Dorje. And then it was the 8th Adi Rinpoche who gave the lineage transmission in 2003. To Soni Rinpoche and Chungun Rinpoche. The 8th Chungun Rinpoche is Drukpakaju Lama. He is the reincarnation of the 8th Adi Rinpoche's root guru. And then monks, kempos, anis, nuns, myself, and a few of Soni Rinpoche's students went for these Ratnalingpa transmissions. And that was like an introduction to the Ratnalingpa lineage, or my introduction from Adi Rinpoche. From there we traveled. We went on a road trip. We went to Gebchak, and we started to meet the yogis, the nuns as well, of course. Got my messenger on. Freitag.
So what was it like when you arrived? What was your experience? Who impressed you in terms of the yogis? What was their lifestyle? What was the style of practice there?
Yeah, so it was very interesting because I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't speak any Tibetan. I'm basically just going with the flow. I was the video guy, and we were receiving the empowerments, and then at the end of them, we were suddenly going on a trip to this place called Gebchak. And in those days, it was a car ride from Sepchu Monastery, from the king's palace, where that would have been Sepchu Monastery. It was a car ride of, I think, 6 hours to a bridge. So a very long bridge that was wide enough for a motorcycle and had just these branches that were holding it together, strung across a wide river. So we made it across on motorcycles and then switched to horses. So the last trip from the bridge up to Gebchak Nunnery was by horse. And we had maybe 20 of us on horses, and then many others of the monks, yogis, nuns, everybody sort of walking along. And it was November, so it was snowing hard and very cold. But there was no way to drive there. So at that time it was still quite remote. And even now, it's still remote. People don't go there so much, but you can drive there now. And oh yeah, so we arrived. We arrived there, and there was Sherab Zangmo. Actually, I didn't get to meet Sherab Zangmo so well the first time, but I met Sherab Zangmo later on, and she is a very powerful nun, a great master.
I've heard of her. Did she attain rainbow body? I believe.
I think so. In fact, I don't quite know. Maybe she did, but anyway, she has relics. So I suppose if there are relics, I think they cremated her. In fact, but maybe she shrunk. I didn't quite hear that. But because I know that there were relics, but I think maybe not so many. And my friend Loju Dempa is one of the yogis who done practice for 37 years, different retreat centers, different caves. And he's a student of Lagin Pema Drimi, Drupchen Pema Dorje. Oh, he is this kind of Gebchak Yogi who passed away last year, which is quite unfortunate. He wasn't so old. But he got one of the relics from Sherab Zangmo. And Sherab Zangmo is someone who Lagin Pema Drimi had a huge faith in. So when we met Pema Drimi, and we were asking him who he would recommend we should go and see from the Gebchak lineage, he said Sherab Zangmo. Sherab Zangmo and Pema Dorji, those two. Sherab Zangmo, Shebzang. So for short, Shebzang. She had a vision. She had a vision of Tsayan Jamso, I believe. But we can again check this Gebchak website because there's probably a very clear account of her life and her experience. I think she had this clear vision, might have been in dark retreat, of Tsayan Jamso. Or Tara, sorry, I quite forget. But she got her sort of enlightenment, and quite young. I think she was in her 20s. And so at that time, there was still there was a dark retreat at Gebchak at that time. Well, this is one of the specialties of the lineage that I started to notice. They do have this dark retreat lineage. Currently, there's no dark retreat at Gebchak, so basically it hasn't been rebuilt since the 60s and 70s. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. I've done 3 dark retreats with Lagin Pema Drimi, and together with Soja Tuku. So there are 4 Tukus of Gebchak. One of them is Soja Tuku. He is a reincarnation of the Yishi Tsogyal. So Yishi Tsogyal was one of these main students of Tsayan Jamso. And he's the 3rd reincarnation. So then together with him, I have this project to build a dark retreat center. And
At Gebchak?
Yes, at Gebchak itself.
And also, there are 2 Gebchaks, right? One in Nepal and one in Tibet.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. So you mean the one in Tibet?
Oh, in Tibet. Yes, the one in Tibet. So, for example, because I know this Soja Tuku very well from 2003. We received the Ratna Lingpa empowerments together. He went to the U.S. on a trip. I helped introduce him to Bakatuku Rinpoche. Oh, yeah, but before that, he did a 3-year retreat at Drupchen Pema Dorje's cave, Mukborgom, when I was receiving the Tsangchi Zhenga from Drupchen Rinpoche. So I was there right when Soja Tuku was finishing his 3-year retreat, and we offered the Tsok together. And we were practicing some Trukor together, and a few years after that, even we received the Tsayan Jamso empowerments from Lagin Pema Drimi, just over the ridge from Gebchak. I know Soja Tuku very well, and we have maintained friendship. So, yes, this dark retreat project is at Gebchak in Tibet.
Yeah, so if anybody is interested in helping out, maybe if you have a link or something, we can add it in the description.
Would be very nice. It's through email, PayPal, but anyway, it's okay. Just having an open attitude to find a way. It's been a couple of years that the idea was born, and then last year I went again, and this time it was at a picnic in front of 40 of the nuns. So they are now the nuns are expecting it. So it's okay. Just according to the timing, we can find a way. Alalahu.
So did you learn this? I understand these yogis have this Doha tradition. Maybe do you know like how this tradition work? What is this tradition of spontaneous singing and poetry? Do you have anything to share?
Come to Amsterdam Saturday night, and I'll show you.
Flip the mind back on itself. Knowledge flow, freedom to know self. Magnificent hall, vibrate light. Magnificent drops of vibronic light. Magnificent most, the highland oak. Magnificent eye, high and eye.
So, like the first Sony Rinpoche, he was singing exactly. I don't know so many of his dohas, in fact, but I do know one because there's one that we sing when we are doing the yoga. So, yeah, we can. I think it's a bit like a good sort of Bollywood Nepali movie, singing in the forest. Pascal, you ready for a song? Or that stage. It looks like there's a...
Oh, we reached the
there's
stage,
a
man.
stage right there.
We have reached the stage.
Small audience.
To Kandromas also.
Amazing. All right, I'm definitely going to embarrass myself. Let's do it.
Right.
We embarrass. Namaste, namaste.
Can I give you more cable? Can you pull out more cable from here?
A little bit jammed up, but
Yeah, not very enough.
okay, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so
Yeah, this is a popular Vajra song. I mean, it's a Vajra song of the first Sony Rinpoche. Been translated into English as well. Maye, maye, drembe, genzoitu. Engwe lam la de gi jak bayu. Cha ta jimbe zemde du yimbe. Ni zin gun de gu me ngor to. Kada ma chu rang zin ngon journey. Jene zurgu me to rang jado. Jene zurgu me to rang jado. Ma gon lunde yimbe gertajin. That's kind of the main one that we would do during practice.
very enchanting melody.
Yes, and the meaning has been translated into English. Oh, it's very, very nice meaning. Very sort of, as I think the first Sony Rinpoche, yes, he was singing these songs exactly. And then Gebchak Yogis, he also has the lineage. So there is basically his Sablam Japchu. His Sablam Japchu is his own commentaries on basically the Sanchi Ringa.
Whose commentary?
Tsayan Jamso, his own, his commentary on Sanchi Ringa. This is Sablam Japchu. And then connected to that, he has a volume of Vajra songs. These Vajra songs, Pema Dorje like very much. After a few years studying with them, he was passing them along to me as well. It's very, very nice, because also Pema Dorje was not extremely literate, but he liked this volume of Vajra songs a lot. And he was a bit of a singer or a shouter. Anyway, he would shout out his prayers every morning. Jepsen Jupsi Yapsi Soka Dorje Chang Lama Cheno is kind of Alalaho.
Relax, I guess.
Have some tea. Drupchen Pema Dorje had a tea kettle for many decades. It was very dented and covered in soot. So he would use that over an open fire for drinking tea. Do they make to-go cups?
You want one? We can.
I wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Or maybe a bottle of water.
Sure,
I
sure.
know it. I think we can.
Maybe let's get a water. Then when we come back,
Yes.
let's sit
Well,
for
this is very nice too, because this is like how Pema Dorje would make his tea over an open fire.
open fire.
Maybe we can just sit for a moment and like enjoy the mood, or what? Oh, can we have? Oh yeah.
Chia.
Tea.
Ready? You want tea, Pascal? 1 cup to go. 1 cup, lane. Punsa? Azur, lane. Punsa? Azur. Yes.
Oh yes. What is? Smell.
Hey, we're locking the door so we can sit here.
Oh, like, I'm dying to sit next to this thing.
Yeah, careful the wire and the fire.
But I just because
The wire
this
in
is
the
the thing
fire,
about
man.
Pema Dorje. He had Pema Dorje loved the open fire. He wouldn't use gas stove. He wouldn't use electricity either. He didn't want to eat rice or have anything from like the modern world. One time then his attendant wasn't there. His attendant was off building the new hermitage. And I was left to build his fire. But the thing is, I was not so skilled at building it with the dung. So they use yak dung. So if you don't really know how to do it, it will just be smoky. I was making smoky fires. He was not very pleased, just like telling me, Adzima, Adzima. Like you'll have to put in the, like slow by slow, just little. Here. Thank you. Chupin Pema Dorje, Lama Chen. Alalaho. Kihi, so lajalo. Jepsin, Jupsi, Yapsi, Sogo Dorje Chang.
Kind of wish I like recorded this in like 4K. Shots are so good. I've been like recording in HD. I'm like, but it's looking so.
Jepsin, Jupsi, Yapsi. Jepsin, Jupsi, Yapsi. This is a Pema Dorje saying all the time. Jepsin is like the Lord, like Jepsin Milarepa. Or like the Lord, Jupsi, Yapsi. So the Drup is the Siddha. The Se is the son of the Siddha. And then Yapsi, father, son. So it's this, they will say, even just the other day when I was at Chobar, and there, of course, a very good Gebchak nun. Oh, amazing. More than one, but one amazing Gebchak nun is that Soni Rinpoche's Gompa in Chobar. And so, yeah, she was just explaining, it's not that Sayan Jamso is the son of Soni Rinpoche, like,
30.
I don't have any myself.
I also only have China money.
Like connection, but yeah.
Yo voy a traer aquí.
oh yeah, so not that Sayan Jamso is the son of Soni Rinpoche, but he's the spiritual heir of Soni. So Jepsin, Jupsi, Yapsi. Is the prayer. What is Sayan Jamso?
Melody, Tsang,
Oh yeah, Jiang. Oh yeah.
clean, maybe full,
Oh,
something like that.
oh yeah. Like the 6th Dalai Lama, Sayan Jamso. Same. And then Ratna Lingpa had 2 sons. Yeah, as well. So that's his father-son lineage. Oh yes, not only Ratna Lingpa had sons, but also the
Kumchok Jungne. So this Langdro Lotsawa Kumchok Jungne, one of the 25 disciples of Guru Rinpoche. And his reincarnation is Ratnalingpa. But there are prayers to Kumchok Jungne as the Tukse, so the heart son of Padmasambhava. They have this kind of gypsy yupsy, this father-son lineage. It's not necessarily like actual father-son, but spiritual heir.
Shall we rock and roll to the stupa?
Pascal, you shop this kettle here. Just be sure to grab the kettle. Wow, that's because yes, Pema Dorje had his own kettle. But it was a kettle that he had used for decades. So very dented and very caked in soot. And he liked to make a strong tea in it, but then even after he put the tea into the thermos, he would then push more loose tea into the top of the thermos. So he drank extremely strong tea. Living to be almost 100, as drinking strong tea.
Especially Tibetan tea is quite strong already into itself, right? Those leaves.
The thing is, I think it's the scraps that they sort of, from producing other teas, like especially yellow tea, then the scraps they sweep off the factory floor and press it into these Tibetan bricks. Those are very cheap. They're very cheap. Okay. Alalaho. Nice place, nice place. Red and
So
white.
we find ourselves.
Red and white, it's very good. Oh, this is a good spot. We can go to the stupa, you are thinking?
Yeah, we'll come back here after.
Oh, yes.
Drink more tea.
Pascal, you see this image, the red and white stripe painted on the clay. That's very good. Because Gebchak has these, basically, for the way I like to think of it, or my angle is that it very much is with the men and women practicing. Anyway, doesn't matter, but it's nice to bring up and share a bit.
I heard there was a little bit of social drama because of the men and women together in one place, you know? Is it
Maybe.
true?
I think so, and maybe the locals were talking quite much. So then Soni Rinpoche came from the king's castle. And Tsayan Jamso always praising and singing about his teacher Drupwan Soni. Is really a lot of devotion. So, yeah, one time Soni Rinpoche came and moved the yogis onto the other side of the ridge and to Raya. So then Raya Hermitage or Raya Monastery evolved. But even like when Pema Dorje was training at Raya in the 50s, there were not many Togdens. There were a few Togdens, but then there were also nuns there. So again, it was men and women were practicing together. And yes, then when he went to get further teachings from Gebchak, then also he received it from Lagin Kartse. Lagin Kartse is one of the main students of Tsayan Jamso and was sitting on Lagin Kartse's sort of throne, but it was just like a cushion in his retreat house. So even then, there were yogis living at the nunnery. Oh, is that the stupa?
Seems like.
We can see. Building a new stupa.
Oh, we lost. So, what is the training for a normal newcomer, for example? Where do they start? Where do they go? What was your experience there?
I mean, that would also be good just for like a general introduction to how they practice at Gebchak. There's Ani Chuzum, she gave already quite much of a review on that. I think the Love and Liberation podcast. She has really explained a lot about how they train traditionally at Gebchak. Like my way was a little bit unconventional. I was more riding on the wave of luck. Riding a lot of luck. Plus a letter from Soni Rinpoche. That was very good. And so for me, yeah, I mean, I had done 2 ngundros and, you know, I had my path, like practicing Vipassana meditation, being a religious studies major. I had done a couple of ngundros and was in Tibet and met Drupchen Pema Dorje 2000, when was that? 2005, I believe, with Sony Rinpoche and the Blessings gang, like Chariot Video made a really good documentary about Gebchak, and so I was there with that gang. And we met Pema Dorje for a day, and then it was like, I think Sony Rinpoche mentioned that the next year maybe some of his foreign students would come study. So then the next year I went and I brought my friend Phil, a monk from the UK. I helped him out with travel expense. He's very good with Tibetan. And Sony Rinpoche wrote us a letter. So we had the letter to offer to Pema Dorje, basically requesting that he would teach us. So he said if it comes to the lineage head, then he must. Oh, that was amazing. So lucky. So lucky.
So when you were staying at Gebchak, besides the local yogis that you mentioned, did you meet any other interesting practitioners? Maybe like other foreigners who were doing intensive practice that you felt inspired by?
Yeah, so he arrived 2003 at Sepchu Monastery for the Ratna Lingpa empowerment given by Adi Rinpoche, and we heard about Peter, Galambosh Peter, a Hungarian that had been living in the mountains for nearly 10 years.
At Gebchak?
So this was at Sepchu Monastery, which was, at that time it was this sort of 6-hour jeep ride and then motorcycle and horse. So it was, I mean, now you can get from Sepchu Monastery to Gebchak in a few hours. But so he is up in the caves behind Sepchu Monastery. And Sepchu Monastery, so this is where the king of Nongchen had his palace. Peter was a disciple of Khenpo Munse Rinpoche, and from Khenpo Munse, he then he got advice to go see Jubrik Tupdop. Jubrik Tupdop is Adi Rinpoche's name, but not the less common. So he's famous as Adi Rinpoche. But Peter had the idea to go to Samye Monastery in Lhasa from Golok. And Khenpo Munse suggested that, okay, anyway, on the way is Nongchen. So in Nongchen you can look for Jubrik Tupdop. And yeah, I mean, Peter had an adventure. He walked from Golok to Dola Monastery. Dola Monastery is the home of Dola Tuku. I think he was in his 9th incarnation. He is the father of Dujum Yangsi Rinpoche, the Sangye Pema Shepa.
I see.
So
Passed away a couple of years ago, right?
oh yes, and so on the way from Golok to Nongchen, Peter acquired a yak. He had gotten a reputation because he was disciple of Khenpo Munse Rinpoche. And even Khenpo Munse Rinpoche mentioned to one of his main students, Khenpo Penchen, that probably Peter is a Tuku of Jigme Lingpa. So that started to get out among the locals, and the people had very big faith in him. Ooh, a beautiful place. So nice.
Shall we maybe take a seat below the stupa, you think?
Okay, yeah,
Is that
take
okay?
off. Oh, yes, I take off the bag there, I guess. Oh, it's amazing, amazing. A good place.
Maybe here's a little bit of grass. What do you think?
Yeah, perfect. Do I get on this side?
Yeah, either side is fine.
Okay.
Actually, because now we have lots of cable, so
Oh, yeah.
should be fine. Okay.
So dusty. Hello. The end of the world. The road warrior, Mad Max. So that was, I remember Peter, after his 10 years basically living in Tibet without a passport or a visa, and we were in Beijing. And he was in Beijing from 2004 to 2008. And one time we were going around, and the sun was setting in the city of Beijing. And Peter was looking at the sun, and he was saying his master, Kempo Munzel. Munzel. Munzel means to clear the darkness. So it was in reference to the end times. And that Kempo Munzel was going to be this sort of the last shining light during the dark age or during the end times. it was. But anyway, just was reminded growing up on movies like Road Warrior, Mad Max, this kind of Red Dawn. Oh yes. Peter had a very good connection to Kempo Munzel Rinpoche.
So what impressed you about Peter? What was his demeanor? What was your experience meeting him?
So at first he was open to chat, but it took, I think, a couple weeks to get to know each other. And I remember well because, so in fact I have this book that I'm working on. I wrote a chapter on him, so it's quite clear in my mind. But anyway, I remember him coming down the hill and sort of at Sepju Monastery. Well, he slipped off the grass onto the dirt road and was very excited, greeting us, saying hello. And we went to a picnic with the lamas. So Adi Rinpoche, Soni Rinpoche, Chungun Rinpoche, the monks. And Peter was just like ecstatic almost. He was very joyful. And also sort of unkept. Unkept. He was living this like machupa, sort of unfabricated style. Well, his fingernails were like long and chipped and hands a little bit grimy, or his clothes hadn't quite been washed for some time. And he's had a little bit of a smell. So that was also famous among the monks. They a little bit would poke fun at him, but of course Peter, he's a Dzogchen master. So he can easily quote any kind of Dzogchen text and to explain, describe how it is that he's living, why it is he's living in this sort of unfabricated way. And but very simple. His cave was extremely simple. So, like for example, one time Pema Dorje was telling about his experience when he went to Raya Monastery the first time to do retreat, saying that he went there with one skin, like a yak skin or some skin to sit on for a meditation cushion. And Peter's response was, "Oh, when I went to my cave, I didn't even have that." So he was living very simply. When I went up to his cave and we were eating food, I visited it several times. I would stay for about a week. I mean, the butter was quite rancid. We picked through, just pick through the rotten parts. Basically make a fire once per day. So because it takes a lot of energy to gather the yak and the yak dung and the twigs. So we make a fire once per day, fill up a thermos, and then with that have tsampa. But I remember one of the days we got lucky. One of the days we went hiking. So basically, from my experience with him, he would like to go hiking up around the mountain. And there were all these little, behind Sepju Monastery, many little cliffs and caves and different places to explore. And so find a perch, find somewhere to sit, and then just stay there for a few hours. Basically not moving in a meditation position. But one day when we went, we found a big circle of mushrooms. It was like very big circle of mushrooms. Amazing. A few meters wide. And Peter said, "Oh, the protectors. So we picked the mushrooms. He grew up, he studied a bit of, I don't know, what is it? Mycology. Oh, yes. He studied some mycology, so he knew which could be eaten. And also so the way he came to China was on a scholarship. A Hungarian government had a agreement with China, and Peter was sent over with 3 other Hungarians on scholarship, and he's studying biology. But he switched to Chinese medicine, and he practiced some Chinese medicine with a doctor in Kunming. So he was also practicing medicine and acupuncture when he was out at his cave for the locals. And one day he went hiking very, very high up above Sepju Monastery. There's a long gray ridge. It's just extremely high and far. People don't really go there. He found a snow lotus. A snow lotus is like a very big medicinal plant. Oh my gosh. Good thing we got the foreman in the house.
mycology. Foreman in the house. I love it. All the technical. We got all the tech covered. Oh, then the snow lotus is apparently it's good for joints. I don't know for rheumatism, but it's good for joints. So he brought it to Adi Rinpoche. And Adi Rinpoche was very happy. Put it up on his shrine. Immediately put it on his shrine. But this is not the only thing that Adi Rinpoche hung up in his room from Peter. Because there was one moment when there was a crazy yogi living in the caves where Peter was living, when Peter first moved there. And the crazy yogi was like a student of a student, or he wasn't a student of Khenpo Gangshar, but he had that lineage. And that yogi was looking for a consort. And there was a local who he was interested in. So he and Peter were going to visit her. Peter was always being asked to go to the locals to do some acupuncture, check their pulse, give some medicine. And it worked out where the girl's mother wasn't interested in having this yogi for her daughter. And I think the yogi was a little bit negative-minded, so he got grumpy. And then the girl had a nightmare, and she got sick. So then that got back to Adi Rinpoche. And Adi Rinpoche had them agree that they wouldn't go back to the tent. So Peter wrote a poem about the situation. That poem I can find. We have it. It's very nice. And the poem was so good that Adi Rinpoche nailed it to the post in his room. Peter, that's Peter. He's a very amazing master.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed away in 2019.
If you can share a picture of him.
Oh, yes, I would love to. I'd love to. Many moments you can share.
So there is this. You had all these experiences with these yogis in Nangchen, both like local yogis and maybe even some foreigners like Peter and yourself. Then I understand you also spent some time in China with some Chinese meditation masters, which are also Buddhist, but they kind of follow these different Chan, or we can say Zen, what is known as Zen in Japan and in America mostly. What was your experience with them? Do you feel like their practice is similar to the Tibetan yogis in Nangchen, in Gebchak? Is there a difference in their style? What's your thought on this?
Yes. I don't know how much similarity. I mean, I could, if I wanted, try to line it up with Drupchen Pema Dorje, because Pema Dorje, he is the Pema. Pema Dorje has this kind of crazy wisdom lineage. As he took refuge with Bugun Yeshi Jamso, he is this Drupakaju Togden who was wearing a chuba, like lay clothing, had a wife and a daughter, and he roamed this valley in Nangchen playing a bell, always playing a bell. And then his guru is Lama Ugung. Lama Ugung is a Drukpakaju Togden, also crazy wisdom master, who was basically naked for several years at this one valley in Nangchen. And I think it sounds like quite an intimidating character, this kind of crazy wisdom type of master. And in Chan, or Zen, but in Chinese Chan Buddhism, they have Kwang Chan. So Kwang Chan, it's a wild Chan. It's a wild Chan lineage. And in that way, you could say there is some similarity. It's a kind of attitude, a style, a physical presence that is unadorned, very immediate, and sort of transcending concepts or breaking concepts, finding the way through concepts. Can be with language like a Vajra song, can be by ringing a bell, like Bugun Yishi Jamso constantly ringing a bell, or Lama Ugun just naked. Our Chan master, this Wang Shaofan, he's also this crazy Chan master. I mean, I don't know, he would find some way to scold you if you try calling him Kwang Chan, because he's supposed to be undefinable. You cannot really pigeonhole or put him into, you cannot put that kind of master into any sort of box. But Wang Shaofan is a very interesting master, because he
And he was introduced by Peter. So from 2004, 2008, Peter is living in Beijing, and through Peter, I met Wang Xiaofan. Wang Xiaofan is Mongolian. His father is a general for the Kuomintang. At the age of 3, they went to Taiwan. So Wang Xiaofan grew up in Taiwan, and in his early 20s, he followed Nan Huaiqin. And Nan Huaiqin is a very famous Chan master in China. Published a lot of books, almost lived to 100. So Wang Lao Shi, he received this Chan Huatou, or Zen koan, from Nan Huaiqin, and trained in that. But it's an instantaneous path, so their kind of enlightenment would happen quickly. It's not like so much with the normal Tibetan Buddhism, where you are sort of training gradually. They can get enlightened very quickly. Of course, Tibetan Buddhism will have it. Dzogchen instantaneous path, like Chikcharpa, in one instant getting enlightened. But it's more of emphasizing the gradual. And Zen also has a gradual aspect, but then the one that we are learning, so it's through a master named Linji. And Linji was famous for beating, hitting, shouting, and shocking his students into enlightenment. And it is a little bit, if you want to connect it, you can say, because like Pema Dorje would tell stories about some of the Gebchak Togdens. So, for example, Silsu Dorje, he is the marmot-eating Vadra. He was hunting marmots for some time, but one day he had a dream about a lama. And then the next day, Naksang Tuku. And Naksang Tuku is one of Pema Dorje's main teachers, and he's one of the 4 Tukus of Gebchak. Naksang Tupu was coming on his way to Gebchak, and Silsu Dorje remembered the lama from his dream, and so he went and said, "You are my teacher." Naksan Tuku gave him chuba, like this cloak, Tibetan cloak, and Silsu Dorje got enlightened immediately. So then he is just in a kind of enlightened state. Is the Pema Dorje like to tell this kind of story, or like another Togden at Raya Gompa. That Togden at Raya Gompa was always thumping his chest constantly until the clothes were just wearing away. Year after year, thumping his chest until the clothes just was very, very kind of eccentric, very immediate. There is and even Pema Dorje's master, Bugun Yishi Jamso. Because Bugun Yishi Jamso, he was a hunter. And when he met Lama Ugun, then Lama Ugun forced him not to be a hunter. And within 10 days, then Bugun Yishi Jamso also has this kind of crazy wisdom going everywhere, ringing a bell. Well, that's an interesting thing, too, about the bell. Because, for example, the Shakuhachi Zen lineage, this like Japanese Zen flute, Shakuhachi, that's a Zen monk lineage, and it traces itself to Tang Dynasty Chan master from Shijia, a city nearby Beijing, who the master is always ringing a bell and dragging a coffin with him. The coffin is because he can die in every instant, and the bell is the sound of emptiness. So, for example, one of the 3 very traditional Shakuhachi song is called the Empty Bell, and but it looks like the Shakuhachi lineage is more. It's coming from Ikku. Ikku lived 400 or 500 years ago in Kyoto. He's a crazy wisdom master, and he really promoted the Shakuhachi. So probably, of course, there are monks before him that are playing it, but maybe because he is the illegitimate son of an emperor, he had much influence. I think a very impressive person. I can play.
Yeah. Do you have any? Would you mind showing us a little bit of this?
I'm happy. I can.
Can you say the name again?
Shakuhachi.
Shakuhachi.
Oh yes.
I've only seen pictures of the monks playing, but I've never actually heard or seen one.
It's a bit like Will Ferrell, Anchorman. Since you mention it, I do have my flute.
I wanted to also get some sense of dark retreat from, because you mentioned that they don't practice it much anymore in Gebchak. Is that true? But there's also, you guys are you trying to revive the tradition? That's why you and this Lama, this Rinpoche, I guess, are trying to build this dark retreat. And how does the practice work? You said you also did a dark retreat yourself. Like, how does it work? Like, how do you go to the toilet, etc.? Like, also, like the logistics.
So there is no dark retreat center at Gebchak Nunnery. There was one prior, like Shibzang, Gebchak Ani Sherabzangmo, the great master. She attained enlightenment in dark retreat, as I understand it. But that was before, 40s or 50s or sometime. But they haven't rebuilt it. I thought they had done some in one of the basements of one of the room, but last year I was walking with Sherab Zangmo and one of the Doje Lupuns and asking, is this the place? I thought it's where they had done one. She was saying, no, we don't have a dark retreat. We don't have one. So that was right when we had this picnic, and so then Soja Tuku was reaffirming and asking that I would build one. But the thing is, 2 years ago when the idea first came up, I was on my way to visit the late Lagen Pemetrimi's Kandro, so Drunkar Tsemso. Also, she's a big master. And at that place, they have dark retreat. So that's where I did my dark retreats. And I mentioned to her that we are planning to build one at Gebchak. She said, no, not necessary. We have one here. We just have one here. It's enough. So the lineage has one, but it's not at Gebchak. So I told that to Soja Tuku last year. I said, no, Junkar Tsemso. She said, no need. Then he said, Cho Zaro, like, you are crazy. Gebchak Nunnery is like the core of the lineage. We must have one at Gebchak Nunnery. But actually, Lagen Pemetrimi's place is this place, Chajik, and that's the cave where Sayan Jamso did many retreats. So anyway, but yeah. Gebchak is the main place, and the Ani, and then also Soja Tuku saying the Anis are getting old, so it's time. They need a dark retreat center. And the one at Lagen Pemetrimi's, they've had like two. So there was one that they built, and then they built a better one. Well, the one I used the old one. So basically, it's just like you have a foyer, and so then you need a helper. The helper cooks. They bring the food into the foyer, close the outside door, then they enter into the main room. So, because you cannot have a speck of light. Same with this. It's not an outhouse, but it's attached to the main room. Well, that's a bit of a problem. The old one was designed in such a way that the matter wouldn't flush away. The feces wouldn't flush. So after a few days, a week, it would start to smell. The bathroom is connected. So, but you can't see, so you just kind of get used to it. You kind of feel around. It's a bit disorienting at first. But then you get a little bit used to it. And because the second time I did it was for a month, and that time it was getting quite smelly. But you are okay. You are having some experience, or you are in retreat, so you just manage. And that's a very good practice. It's a core, or maybe a subsidiary practice, but the lineage, I think, likes it very much. Because the first Drupal Tsoni Rinpoche, he included it as a subsidiary practice to the Nilamo cell, so to the clear light dream yoga. Basically, we have 5 secret practices. So Sangchi Zhenga, the secret instructions of the 5 Buddha family, and for the Buddha Toching Sao, this central skull garland Buddha, is the clear light dream yoga practice, and as a subsidiary practice is dark retreat. So Drupal Tsoni, the first Tsoni Rinpoche, he has his instruction on how to do it. And then Tsayan Jamso, Getchat Tsayam Jamso, so Tsoni Rinpoche's disciple, he wrote a commentary in his Sablam Japchu. So his volume on is his commentary. And then from there, there's Lagen Pemetrimi's father, Jaron Pema Rigzen. So Pema Rigzen wrote a commentary on dark retreat too. So these 3 different texts in our lineage, and the Jaron Pema Rigzen's Dark Retreat instruction is the most detailed. So it has the most description of visualization. And basically, in the 7 days, you have a different visualization for each day. And then if you stay longer than 7 days, you would repeat the visualization. What basically is the first day is a ngundro, and then the next day you close the windows, and after 7 days, then you open the curtains gradually over a period of 4 days. The problem is the first time we did it, I did it with a monk from Chanagompa. So Chanagompa is a Soni Choling lineage. And Lama Chunjor, who is the Doje Lupun of Tuku Urgyen Rinpoche in India for many years, came back to Nangshan. He was guiding that temple. And one of those monks would always come to see Lagen Pemachimi for Yeshi Lama. And one of the monks and we did our dark retreat together. But after a week, he was a bit antsy inside. There was a dog barking, and I don't know if he really settled into it so much. So after a week, he opened the window fully, just boom, and went out. He thought that the retreat was over, and got a very bad scolding from Lagen, especially Lagen Pemachimi's Kandro. He was not happy. So that happened the first retreat. You know, this apparently it's a very bad thing. They say a very big obstacle. My college professor was Sanskrit expert. He was translating lots of Madhyamaka. I think he was doing one of the first translations of Chandrakirti's commentary on Umagen. But I never learned Sanskrit. Tibetan is okay. Enough Tibetan to learn from Pema Dorje, Pema Drimi. Still not so good, but it could be a little confusing. Like one time I remember we were preparing for the dark retreat. And I went into the room, and the dark retreat room, before we were beginning, and Lagen Pema Drimi was already sitting in there. He had a really good presence, a really strong presence, but just a very straight-faced look. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to try and ask a question. So with my Tibetan was okay. I picked up a few keywords. So I just asking, in this dark retreat, you are supposed to stay for 24 hours a day in a position, or one of three in a position anyway, with this belt. You need to stay in like a squatting position for 24 hours. So then, oh yes, is it necessary I do it? What if I can't do it? And he just didn't mind so much, this kind of question. Just basically, it's up to you. You can, it's sort of up to you. And yeah, so even with leaving the retreat after a week, I still got the message from one of Lagen's main students, a yogi. He said, it's okay, when we did dark retreat, we would just do it for a few days. Just trying things out, you're just sort of trying. So don't make a big deal. Don't worry so much.
The theory behind the dark retreat is that there's some sort of light naturally emerging from the eyes. So by there not being sensory stimuli, that sort of inner light or eye light, I don't know how to say it, is allowed to come forth. Is that right? What is the theory?
I should look at the texts again. I should. There's an American who's building a whole dark retreat center in Massachusetts. I think Massachusetts.
Montana, maybe?
Or maybe another,
Tukusanaks, or there's also another.
Tukusanag, and then a fellow, a Dharma, I think quite a good practitioner from New York. And he's building one in Massachusetts. And he's on many podcasts. I think his whole life is dedicated to dark retreat. So he would probably be better a little bit on the theory, or if I sort of think about it and try to remember, but it's not really light from the eyes, right? So it was basically, as I understand it, it's from this secret cycle of Ningtik. They have outer, inner, secret, and then extra secret, and so it's like it's from the secret cycle, not exactly the extra secret. And so I was a little bit under the impression it's if you are needing to like trigger or jumpstart your langinama, like your appearance is on the path of Togal, then you can use dark retreat. But normally I think the theory would be something like the phenomena itself is already a lamp of clear light. And so if you have that kind of insight, and already you are experiencing a vision of Dzogchen just in your day-to-day life. Can be something like that. But anyway, normally they use like a moon or a candle or the sun rays and to pull out the vision from the lamp in the heart. So then there are teachings on 4 lamps, 6 lamps, 9 lamps, however many lamps, and they are connected to these crystal channels. So then they have channels that the lights and visions flow through and different ways to try to trigger it. So like, for example, Khenpo Munsa Rinpoche. Khenpo Munsa Rinpoche is a main student of Khenpo Ngakchung. So very good, extremely good lineage of Dzogchen. When he was in prison, he pulled a blanket over his head for 4 days and moved through all 4 visions of Togal. So Togal is this other aspect of Dzogchen. There's Trekchut, there's Togal, the spontaneous presence of leapover, and it has 4 visions. Khenpo Munsa Rinpoche was accomplishing the 4 visions in 4 days. But I think maybe some other dark retreat traditions like Bun probably is more like a dark retreat is a 49-day dark retreat experience. Could be, I think, is more, they have it in that. So it can be different ways of treating it. And ours, I didn't read so much theory, but this Gyalrong Pema Rigzen's visualization is so amazing. So you are basically, there are 5 different eyes that you are activating. And then you are visualizing them in different parts of the body. And through the eyes, you start to see a kind of parallel universe or a kind of very subtle space. And it would be different from the Tsa Lung Tigle of like Tumo, for example. So maybe more subtle, or the two have a very fine interdependence. Because so for me, for example, I found after doing these dark retreats that then my visualization for Tumo practice was working very well, or was working much better, where I could use, of course, the asanas, the chukkur movements, pranayama, breathing, breath holds, but then just through some of the visualization could start to make the energy circulate. And for me, it was very helpful, the dark retreat, maybe getting my Tumo experience going, and the two were related. But I remember there's an American friend, Jim Gritz. And as I remember, we went with Sony Rinpoche to meet Lagin Pema Drimi, and we requested teachings from Pema Drimi. And I think he asked, what's the connection between Tumo and Togal and Lagin Pema Drimi. He said there's not absolutely no connection, but as far as he knew, there was no connection. So maybe some very direct answer like that. But I think because for me, it got the visualization practice going. And I don't know, it could be even that for some time I didn't have such a understanding of how special visualization could be. Or even the word like imagination. Maybe imagination is a very powerful thing, in fact. It's not just, you're imagining things. But the imagination, the visualization can really trigger a kind of spontaneous, I don't know even how, it would be like a spontaneous wisdom. So, but then how you differentiate between a karmic imprint or some kind of karmic appearance and a wisdom appearance, I'm sure there's very good theory about it. I would need to read up on it, but basically I think if I'm having some kind of some kind of meditative experience that's based on what feel like a wisdom appearance, then there's a kind of spaciousness or a bliss, a kind of clarity. You just feel like you are in the zone, a kind of zone of samadhi, a kind of jhana or something. You know that you are in a meditation mood. It's not a kind of like dullness or like a blank sort of state that you might associate with alaya. Or basically, we have to use these labels or terms to try to get at it. And then you would also find like your dream life, because for us, the dark retreat is a subsidiary practice to dream yoga. So in dark retreat, your dreams get very long and very detailed. And then you can get into the lucid dreaming very nicely, and it just unfolds. So it's like you are opening a kind of wisdom eye. And from there, maybe you come out and you have a little bit of like an ability for better timing, being in the right place at the right time. You know, just different ways maybe that the practice is kind of working. Or you have like very deep confidence in your realization, for example. You feel like you can use a tool, any kind of posture, breathing, or visualization, and you can be into the meditative state. Oh, it's our dark retreat is good. The third dark retreat that I was doing was with this Hamid. He's the first Buddhist I met in 1996. And Peter, the three of us did one. It was very nice for 13 days. And I remember, because you're in there in the same room with our sleeping bags, so you can hear if someone's moving around. But it would be like for some periods of time, Peter just didn't seem to be moving at all for like hours and hours. I think he's very stable meditator. And then I think we were a little bit start to share, like chat a bit during the retreat, which maybe you're not necessarily supposed to do. Maybe better to keep silent. Or, I mean, when I was alone, it's just, yeah, you are silent. But first retreat, that one monk, he was talking a lot. He didn't like the dog, but still the visions would be coming a bit, or the movement, the circulation. This other time we are chatting with Peter, and I mentioned like a little bit about a dream. And then Peter just launches into like this dream that he had on the first night of kind of like some giant white tiger that was coming towards him. He wasn't afraid. He was just staying there. And then the top half of it transformed into a beautiful goddess with very big breasts. Okay.
Do you want some tea?
I love tea, in fact. Is it?
Thank you, Didi.
Just,
Dhanyawad.
but you don't have milk, do you? You're not drinking. No.
Yeah, my not.
¿Dónde va? Oh, man, those are biscuits. I see.
Coffee. Buonasera, questo è. Shelly.
¿Dónde va?
Thank you, Didi.
Alalaho. Thank you. Alalaho. Have some tea.
Dhanyawad, Didi. Thank you.
How nice to be barefoot, to walk around barefoot. And that's the size of Pema Dorje's tea kettle. I'm a bit bent on his tea kettle, but it was like that size. Very nice thing. There's sort of, the foreman needs some extra arms. Oh yeah.
Dhanyawad, Didi.
Alalaho. Kiki soso lajalo gypsum jupsi yapsi lamachi lamachi. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Somehow it reminds me of a time because there's that like synchronicity. So I think I found from doing like a bit like the dark retreat or a different practice, the synchronicity seems to increase. And even in the Drukpa Kaju, they have 5 instructions, and one of them is on Temdrel. The Temdrel increasing. And one time I went to ask Lagan Pemetrimi about Yidam practice. And I was trying to use some kind of, I don't know, a little bit useless idea that the Yidam, if is generated through visualization or through concepts, then it can't be in union with Dzogchen. Or it can't be a thing of Dzogchen because Dzogchen must be beyond concepts or... well, it's not the best question to ask Pema Drimi. But anyway, I think I was asking many of these kinds of questions for some years. And even there's a very good Kempo in Tennessee, Kempo Gawang. And his father, Ngawan Chogyal. No, not Ngawan Chogyal. Dechin Chogyal. His father, Dechin Chogyal, is famous in Nongchen and was very close with Pema Dorje. But anyway, Kempo Garwang, he was listening to some recordings I had where I was asking Pema Dorje, Pema Jimmy questions, and he was also like, it's kind of so uncomfortable, because you got to ask these little like questions that we think are very important. But asking to the master and from many, I don't know, it just felt like from many experiences, the Pema Jimmy, Pema Dor, they didn't really want to, they were open to answer the question, but I think because they are practitioners, just spending decades on a mountain. So what are you asking? You aren't really doing much practice. Like, what am I asking? I haven't really done so much practice, but trying to ask these little detailed things. But anyway, Pema Jimmy, I asked about this Yidam being generated through visualization, therefore concepts, how can it be in union with a non-conceptual Dzogchen? And he just like told the few people around him he was coming along the hill, the ridge, to leave, and he sat down with his cane and went into quite a long, pointing out instruction or description, explanation about the view of Dzogchen. And it was nice, like hello. We are drinking slowly. We are drinking tea slow. I think she's trying to tell us to wrap it up. Time to drink tea and stop talking so much.
I see you got your Damaru there.
Wow, so full.
Kinney.
뭐 간다 있었니?
चिनी कम गरे कि चिनी त लागेन होला नि
ठिकै छ दिदी हामी चिनी खाँदैन नि
चिनी कम गरेको छ
कम खानु
बिस्कुट पनि बनाएर खाइन
म चिया मात्रै खान्छु दिदी मिल्छ चिया धेरै मिठो छ
के हेर्नुहुन्छ
ओलाई
दशकरा हेर्नुहुन्छ
के खेर्नुपर्छ दिदी
दशकरा हेर्नुहुन्छ
थाहा छ
ओले मलाई
We're at an hour and a half, guys.
Okay.
हेर्नुहुन्छ
के खेर्नुपर्छ दिदी ओलाई
ए मलाई कि सपना बिग्रे गरो
हजुर
अनि त्यही भएर तपाईँले सोच्नु पर्यो भनेर उहाँले त
थाहा हुन्छ होला It seems like she's having some dreams. She wants to ask you about her dreams,
We can try about use some translation.
सपना बिग्रे गर्छ कि हेर्नुहुन्छ कि भा भनेर
के बिग्रेको सपनामा
सपनामा खालि त्यो मरेको मान्छे देख्छ
कसले
अनि
मरेको
हजुर
कसले मरेको सपनामा
आफ्ना पनि अरू जाति नि देख्छ
मरेको मान्छे
त्यही भएर अनि बोलेर गर्छु कि अनि त्यही भएर यसो हेर्नु लाउँ कि भनेको थिएँ
She's seen dead people in her dreams, you know. She's wondering like what is it, what's happening.
अँध्यारो भने अनि हेर्नुहुन्छ कि भन्थे
Maybe you can help her.
You don't have.
अनि मलाई कि ऊ यस्तो भिड खारमा हिँड्छु घरि चाहिँ त्यो खोला तर्छु घरि चाहिँ त्यो आपात पर्छ कि अनि त्यही
Actually,
भएर
my Nepali is not that good. Can you help me with this translation, Pascal?
Well,
No.
it's okay because
तपाईँले चाहिँ बुझ्नुहुन्छ नि मेरो
अलिकति मेरो नेपाली सबै हुँदैन दिदी तर बिस्तारै कुरा गरिदिनुस् अनि म उलाई भन्छु.
maybe the details aren't so important.
Yeah.
It could be, but basically the thing is like if she has some idea for any project, can we ask if she has any? Oh, because if she has some idea for a project or some building, some development that she wants to do, it can be that there is some karmic debt coming. She wants to build and then some others are being attracted by it. So maybe if she forgets about any extra work that she might have, then the dreams would relax. If that's possible to say, I don't know.
के गर्नुपर्छ कि
तपाईको दिदी तपाईको योजना छ भने आजभोलि त
हजुर
योजना छ तपाईको प्लान होइन योजना अहिले तपाईको काम गर्नुको योजना छ तपाईको
मेरो
हजुर
मेरो को भन्नुभएको
तपाईको अहिले भविष्यमा होइन भविष्यमा तपाईको प्लान के योजना के प्रोजेक्ट जस्तै गर्नुको सोच छ तपाईको
मेरो भविष्यमा
yeah actually that's a good idea
भविष्यमा के गर्नुपर्ने
हजुर तपाईको एकछिन हाम्रो साथी कल गरौँ अहिले साथी धेरै नेपाली धेरै राम्रो हुन्छ ऊ राम्रो भन्छ नि एकछिन
ए
उसलाई भन्नुहोस् न हजुर ऊ कल गर्दैछ
Lama, we're with this one Didi here, and she has some question. Can you translate for us? Oh, yeah.
हेलो
Ed,
उसलाई भन्नुहोस् त
Nepali.
यहाँ नि म ऊ अलिक सन्चो भएन यो सपनामा खालि मरेको मान्छे देखेर अनि यहाँ लामा आउनु लामै हो
हजुर
होइन लामा आउनु भएको छ र यहाँ के भएको छ कि यो खालि सपना बिग्रेर भनेर हेर्नु लाउनु पर्यो भनेर भन्दैछु नि दुःख दिनु पर्यो भनेर
उहाँहरूले त फेरि त्यस्तो हेर्दैन नि त आमा
हो र
हजुर उहाँहरू प्र्याक्टिस गर्ने हो बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिस चाहिँ गर्ने हो तर त्यो जोखामा हेर्ने उ गर्ने पूजा त्यस्तो गरिदिने चाहिँ जोखामा हेर्ने चाहिँ गर्दैन
ए
मिल्छ तर उसलाई भन्नुहोस् त उसलाई थाहा छ भने इङ्ग्लिसमा भन्नुहोस् न साथीलाई
यहाँ लामालाई भनिदिनुहोस् न
Yeah, please tell Josh actually.
Yeah. Lama, you have to translate for Josh.
अनि
Lama, translate for Josh.
अनि म चाहिँ यसो सपना कस्तो देखेर भा हेर्नुहुन्छ कि यसो पुस्तकबाट भनेर नि
ए हुन्छ
पुस्तकबाट हेर्नुहुन्छ होला
जसले जसको फोन छ उसलाई दिनु त एकचोटि आउनु
Yeah, you're on speaker. You're on speaker,
Yeah,
Lama.
we can hear you.
हजुर
ए एकचोटि म
Yeah.
Oh, the network's not good, huh?
एकचोटि सोध्नुहुन्छ
Network. Net not on roll.
Oh yes, it's an unstable connection. But Lamo, if you can try just to translate, so far it sounds like she's having dreams, and there are many people visiting her in her dreams. Is that right?
Yeah, so she's telling like she sees all this kind of ghost, like in her dreams, and all the dead people in her dreams. So she just wants, she wants you guys to do some puja, like for that kind of dreams, because she thought like you guys do that kind of puja.
Okay, no problem. We brought our drum and our bell, so I do like a 5-minute puja.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be great. La.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she just wants to know like what's happening, like if you can see her hands, check her hand,
So I think the
like that.
main thing,
Yeah, why?
the question I was trying to ask is if she has any idea for any project. Does she have an idea for any kind of work or any kind of project?
त्यस्तो पुस्तकबाट हेर्नुहुन्छ
Like, because if she has an idea for any kind of work or any kind of project, then that can also be attracting more of these kind of ghosts.
But
So,
she didn't say me anything like that.
oh
I
yes,
don't think
but
there's any kind of project.
maybe we can double check. Shall we double check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please tell her.
Eh,
Didi.
हेलो
And let's go puja for her.
तपाईँले के यस्तो केही काम गर्नुहुन्छ तपाईँले के काम गर्नुहुन्छ भन्नु त
म त यहाँ छर्सेनमा बस्छु नि यो छर्सेन बनाउनु भयो अनि बनाउनु भएपछि ऊबाट पूर्वबाट झुकाउनु भयो अनि यही छर्सेनमा ऊ लामा हुनुहुन्छ अनि हाम्रो मेरो बुढा पनि अनि यहाँ आउनुभएको रहेछ अनि बा केही हेर्नुहुन्छ कि पुस्तकबाट हेर्नुहुन्छ कि भन्दै नि सोध्नु पऱ्यो भनेर
होइन होइन तपाईँले त्यस्तो हुन्छ हुन्छ यतिकै बस्नुहुन्छ कि यताउता काम त गर्नुहुन्न
गर्दिनँ नि म चाहिँ त्यतिकै ऊ पानीहरू चढायो ऊ बत्तीहरू बाल्यो गर्छु
हुन्छ हुन्छ एकचोटि दिनु त म उहाँलाई भनिदिन्छु
हुन्छ हवस्
गरिदिन्छ होला सायद त्यहाँ 5 मिनट जस्तो ऊसँगै ड्रमहरू बेलहरू घन्टीहरू छ अरे 5 मिनट जतिको
हस्
Oh yeah, so it sounds like she doesn't have any extra plans. Is that right?
No, she doesn't have. No, she doesn't do anything. So she's free for now also, and she doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Just because the key point would be to try and be relaxed and not to have any ambition. Just to keep very relaxed and have no ambition. Just be simple.
Okay.
Yeah, not to think of any new work or any new ideas, any new projects. And then the other thing is she has a tea house and it's right next to a stupa. So obviously the stupa is a good place. For example, offering Chöd practice. So we have our Chöd drum and bell. We will offer a Chöd ceremony, and then moving into the future, we can just see. Maybe we will come back to this stupa from time to time, and we can offer Chöd on like a full moon or on some special days, and we just make friends with her. And over time, if she offers incense and this kind of thing, has a small shrine, then it can get better.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem. This is what we
Okay.
specialize
Yeah.
in.
She told me. She told me she always offer water, offer butter lamp like that every day.
Nice. It's all good. Okay, then we make a puja now. Okay. We will make a short one and that will be good.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Because that was just the end of the story with Pema Trimi, was that after he was describing the state of Dzogchen really in a forceful way, speaking very close to my face, then he noticed something in the distance. In the distance, down by the old temple, he saw an empty jug of milk. So the jug had its wrapper pulled off. It was like a big plastic bottle and it had its wrapper pulled off. So it was just full of milk. It was like a white jug down in the distance at the base of the temple. So then he used this classic way of describing it, that there is the kara, or like it has the posts, the beams that support the temple. So that inside there is the Buddha. Or in this case, it was the white jug. So in the heart there is a kind of channel or like a lamp that is like he was using this white jug as a metaphor for this white spot in the center, and then there is the temple that's built around it. So a kind of interdependence between the content and the vessel, a kind of interdependence. So if you're using a yidam practice, it can be the same way. The yidam practice has a kind of interdependency with the space. Well, it was like a direct sort of pointing with his stick, and then it became something that was living, and that was good. But we just We can do. Oh, okay. We have this one. Well, we can make some chöd.
Yes. So
We,
just just to give some context. Now our host, Didi, should she sit here? What do you think? Here?
हजुर
What's your, yeah, maybe it would be nice.
चिया लिनु न
we can.
She wants you to drink the tea, by the way.
Oh yeah, we have tea. Even if she lies down, it would be best.
Yeah?
म एकछिनमा आउँदा
दिदी
हुन्छ
तपाईँको अर्को चाहियो एउटा ल्याइदिनुहोस् अनि यहाँ बस्नुहोस् हामीसँग
हजुर यहाँ
हामी
बस्नु
पूजा गर्नुलाई तर तपाईँको यो एउटा ल्याइदिनुहोस् अनि यसमा बस्नुहोस् तपाईँ हामीसँग
हुन्छ।
मिल्छ हस्।
के चाहिन्छ
होइन यो मात्रै तपाईँ बस्नुको लागि यसमा will you stand?
Maybe I would sit where you are sitting,
Okay.
and she can
Yes,
lie
yes.
here.
दिदी 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 यसमा बस्नुहोस् तपाईँ मिल्छ
होइन बस्नु त म ल्याउँछु यहाँ
Oh,
ल्याउँछु अर्को
ए हुन्छ हस् हस् no, she will bring one she says.
Bring some extra.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Not wonderful for her, but just kidding. Well, I know what you mean. The kind of synchronicity.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. The dream,
Do you think you could
living the dream.
for Josh? But look, now he's speaking real booty here.
Oh yes. I got you.
Hold both of them with
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's good. Yeah, it'll be quite loud, but I can show.
hold both of this with
It's okay like this. It's fine.
hold both with one.
Oh, I see.
And when you talk, you just bring yours in.
Yes. Like Jimi Hendrix.
Voodoo Chad.
So now Josh is going to tame some local spirits for us.
Of course. Of course. This banner is from Karmalatso. Karmalatso is one of the older Gebchak Yogis in his 70s, and he is the Chödpa. He is the one going around practicing much Chöd. This is one of his old ribbons. It has a couple strips of leopard, but the one very precious one is like in Pematrimi's hair. Pematrimi gave it to him a long time ago.
ल्याउनु पर्छ होला
Pematrimi wasn't.
के ल्याउनु पर्छ होला
के पर्दैन दिदी हामी त्यति
हामी त्यतिकै दुःख
हजुर
दिएर
हजुर यसमा बस्नुहोस्
He wasn't as famous at that time, though he got some of his dreadlock. But it's very lucky.
Is that okay for her to sit here like this? Okay. दिदीको नाम
बरु दुःख दिएर
दिदीको नाम
हजुर
दिदीको नाम
ए मेरो लाखपदेखि शेर्पा
लाक्पादेवी शेर्पा
लाखपदेखि शेर्पा
हस्।
लाखपदेखि शेर्पा अनि बुढाको चाहिँ दार्जिलिङको शेर्पा हो
हजुर
अनि बुढा पनि अलिक बिमारी छ
ए के भयो बुढालाई
यहीँ हुनुहुन्छ ऊ कोही ढाड दुख्छ भन्छ
तपाईँको घर हो यहाँ
हजुर
तपाईँको बस्ने ठाउँ घर हो
घर होइन यो संस्थाको यहाँ हाम्रो घर त उँभो पूर्व हो
हजुर
अनि यहाँ झिकाको नि ऊ यो छर्चेन बनायोवरी झिकाको यो मात्रै होइन यो 9वटा छ पर छ फेरि एउटा पर चाहिँ बुद्धको मूर्ति छ ठुलो यो पर छ
ए
अनि दुईजनै बत्ती बाल्छौँ बस्छौँ अनि
तर बस्ने ठाउँ राम्रो छ यहाँ दिदी
घरमा चाहिँ नानीहरू छ ऊ भचुर भन्छ नि उँभो पूर्व अनि नानीहरू छ अनि हामीलाई चाहिँ यहाँ झिकाउनु भएर त्यतिकै बस्दैछौँ
भाडा दिनुपर्छ यहाँ
बत्ती बाल्दै
होइन भाडा दिनुपर्छ महिनाको होइन
हजुर
भाडा दिनुपर्छ
भाडा दिनु पर्दैन त्यतिकै हो त्यतिकै बत्ती पानी चाहिँ बोक्नुपर्छ पानी बोक्नुपर्छ त्यही खानेपानी बोक्नुपर्छ अनि यो भाडा पर्दैन बत्तीको पर्दैन सरकारी
Moon. There is the crescent moon. Very nice. In there. through the trees. On the mirror, can't help to clear. Alalaho, the mirror. This one is plastic, but don't worry. This Kamal Hatso didn't like. You know, he handed off his ribbon, but the plastic one, I have a bone in Beijing, but this plastic one, he threw across the room. He doesn't like, but it's okay.
She wants to offer you something, but I'm telling her not to worry.
Tea.
You want more tea?
No, she
yeah.
offered already.
दिदीले हामीलाई यो पुग्छ चिया पुग्छ हामीलाई होइन पुग्छ
I
दिदी
brought this for you.
Oh.
So it's just synchronicity. It's okay.
चिन्ता नगर्नु दिदी यो पुग्छ
अनि यो हाम्रो नानीको बुवा चाहिँ निसा पानी मात्रै खानुहुन्छ खोइ बिगार परेर छ भन्छ त्यसो पनि भनिदिनु न त्यसलाई छुटाउनु पर्छ
Doin somgi doin jambor jigdingi kain damje dage nangwe loin jambor ubdu du jinyan zo ishik bara ai yo pai ye chi ran der ji jirgi kan ro ma pa de me be Rujin Hadre Tamje Dame Neluging on the Jikbar Pai Pai Lotus, born from a stainless lotus, the supreme deity, Padmasambhava of the lotus family, outside pure, inside pure, just like the bud of a lotus. Like that, may you serve the teachings of the lotus born Padmasambhava.
Thank you very much for sharing all this information and your experience. And maybe you want to say anything else, or maybe if anybody who's interested in connecting with the lineage somehow here in Nepal or in Tibet, just maybe a few last remarks.
Thank you so much for doing this. I'm very happy. Yeah, it's my honor. And for sure, in Nepal, Soni Rinpoche has Gebchak Gomba in Chobar. And if you want to come to Tibet, I guess send an email. Maybe you could work something out, a trip. I think I'll be going this summer. Maybe a few friends would come. But in the future, I go every year.
Maybe I'll put your email in the comments.
Yeah.
And also for anybody who wants to contribute with the Dark Retreat project
Welcome.
as well, to make a connection.
Yeah. I got a oh yes, and I have a book coming, Mikuru, the Collected Works by Ari Kunchup Jungne. It's actually not me, but it's another guy named Kumchuk Jungne, and he has a book coming that will be interesting. Do some limited print, and hopefully there will be some books around Kathmandu Valley. I'm very, honored and happy to share, and it's so helpful for us to remember our experiences and speak them out loud, and it's really lucky for me. So thank you.
Yeah, very nice, wonderful. Yeah, and this book will expand on the topics we covered. So this is just a teaser for what's in the book. So thank you very much. And thank you to Pascal, especially. He's hiding behind the camera, but we couldn't do this without him.
Thank you, Pascal.
Yes.